But I said, heck, this applies to anybody, any age. Here is the author, Sunjay Nath. Good to see you. Good morning.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm great. You're very insightful. This is fantastic. Let's begin with some of your rules or your points that you're driving home. The first, let your kids fail. Something we don't normally hear.
Yeah, and as a result, a lot of people don't do it. I think it's one of the most powerful things you can do is let a kid fail. Think about it this way. A kid is learning to walk. If you don't let them fall over and you're constantly bracing them, they actually learn to lean against you to walk. And you see this, my wife always says this, she says, life will whisper. And when you don't hear that, it speaks up a little louder. And if you don't let a kid fail by walking, then it escalates a little. And when they go to grade school, and maybe you step and prevent them from getting their heart broken, it escalates a little further. And then when they get a little older and they get married and maybe their spouse is going to cheat on them, eventually what's going to happen is the parents aren't always around. Yeah. And unless the kid learns to fail, but more importantly, learn the lessons that come from failing, it's just going to keep attracting more and more failure.
It's how we learn our biggest lessons. Absolutely. Makes a lot of sense. Up next, use their hobbies to discover their genius. This is so important. We were talking about this during the break. Explain it a little bit.
Okay, so this is the way I look at it, is there are, I don't know, maybe a handful of 10, a dozen things that as society we consider to be important.
And valuable.
And valuable. You know, you do well in sports, or you do well in school, or you do well in a handful of things, and then you're successful. But the reality is you can take any skill, anything, and leverage it to be great. Why is it we don't look at a kid and go, you're really good at organizing parties, you should be an organizer?
Yeah.
Because it's not one of the top 12.
Or you're really talkative and funny, that's great, let's explore that later on, instead of silence now, time to do math.
Absolutely,
right?
You know, yes, we'll smack you on the wrist and come on, do the thing, because it's not one of the top 12. And so what we need to learn to do is look at our kids and go, hey, you know, you're really good at video games. And one is you can actually look at that skill and go help them to design video games, so right there. Or two is you go, what are the skills you're getting from video games? You know, organization, memory, hand-eye coordination, motor skills, and go, how do we leverage those things? Because no matter what you're doing, you can learn skills and apply them that aren't necessarily in that top 12.
And if they're enjoying it, it means they're passionate about it, so you actually get to explore and nurture that, which will make them happier adults, working adults. When, you know, they're driving to work in the morning, it's something they want to do, they're passionate about, rather than drained after a long day's work.
Absolutely. And it's one of the things I talk about in there is people either have to do something or they get to do something. And we all know this, that there are people that have to go to work. And then, you know, it's Monday morning, and I gotta go to work, and I don't want to. And they're the energy vampires, right? They will suck the life out of everyone and everything around them. Whereas there's other people that get to. And even though it may not be their perfect ideal job for where they are, right, where they want to be, it may be the perfect job to get them where they want to go.
Launching pad, stepping stone,
That's
and they
it.
realize that they have that goal in place.
Absolutely.
And tell me about the underwear revolution.
The underwear revolution is this, here's the thought, is this entire book, and probably most books along this topic, I'm going to get in trouble from other authors for saying this, but most books don't really say anything new. What they do is they take a handful of lessons that we've known for thousands of years and try to put them in a way that the audience that you're writing for understands.
Okay.
So the idea of what I'm trying to do is get into the head of the 12 to 21-year-olds and try to explain leadership through examples that they understand. So this is where the underwear revolution comes from. I noticed when I was in high school, I had this pair of underwear that I absolutely just refused to give up.
Okay.
They were my favorite one. They were boxers. They had big holes in them, but I just would not give them up. And it got me thinking that sometimes we get stuck in what we have, what we're comfortable with. And the problem with that is we never let new things come into our lives. So in order to move to the next level, sometimes we have to shed and get rid of some of those older things. And at the same time, I had new underwear that were sitting in the same, saving in the same drawer, kind of going, one day on a special occasion I'll wear this, on my own wedding, whatever it is. And the problem again with that is every day is a special day, and you need to leverage that. So I've talked to that, and every now and then girls look at me going, no, underwear, what do you know? I don't do that at all. And so there's actually a female analogy in the book, and that is prom shopping. If you talk to any girl going through prom shopping,
hang on to that dress.
This is what they'll tell you. They'll go and they'll look at a dress and they'll go, this is the dress. But they won't buy it. And they'll spend the next month or 2 months looking for a slightly better dress, maybe the same dress a little cheaper, a little better material. And here's the problem, if you get so caught up in looking for the perfect thing, you miss the prom.
You got it.
So the idea is, you're here today, put on that special underwear, buy that dress, and live the prom.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. It's an amazing book, and it's a quick read. Pick it up, guys. ABCs of studentleadership.com or breakfasttelevision.ca is where to get it. I'm telling you, great reminder for us adults and, of course, to impart onto our children. Thank you so much for putting that together. You're great. Over to Francis in the newsroom.